Hey everyone, last week I told you 10 planner features that I absolutely cannot live without. So this week I made a list, I think it's 8 rather than 10, of planner features that I can live without and would regularly pass on. So here is the list in case it is helpful to you. I know that these are all very personal things and it's a decision. You know, you have to think about what you'll actually use, what maybe somebody else uses. It's kind of like when I talk about gifting a planner. I think it's a really personal gift, maybe too personal to gift because only you know what you will actually use, what you actually need. But this is my list of things that I would always skip on. Let me begin. The first 1 and 2, they go together. It is a meal planning section and a grocery list. The reason why is because my family lives nearby. We eat a lot of meals together. And so we have a group text, like a family group text for all, 7 of the people that live in the area. And it's like, I'm gonna make dinner this night. I'm not here this night. What do you want? What should we get? Should we eat out this night? Let's just go our own separate ways this night. Writing it down in my planner wouldn't make sense because 1, it changes a lot. And 2, it's not something that can be in just one place. It needs to be where the whole family could see it. So I will sometimes, if it's my night to make dinner, write it on my own calendar so I don't forget, like, you're making chicken tonight. But for me to have an actual meal plan in my planner, it just doesn't make sense. I will also say that's just for dinners. If I'm tracking what I'm eating for whatever reason, maybe I haven't been feeling great lately, or I'm trying to just make sure that I'm eating enough at meals and not snacking as much throughout the day, eating healthier, whatever the case is, I'm typically tracking that in an app and not in a paper planner. So for me, that's just not something I would use. Now, number 2, like I said, they kind of go hand in hand, is the grocery list. That is because I have a husband. So I think anybody who has any type of partner, roommate, person they live with, somebody that relies on them, a lot of times you're gonna share some type of notes app, grocery app, and that's what we have. Because if I say, I'm going to the grocery store, what do you need? A lot of times it's crickets from anybody. Like I said, I live near my family, so sometimes we'll send out all calls, like, I'm going to Walmart, I'm going to the grocery store, does anyone need anything? But if it's in the app, then it's not this pressure of like, you need to know right now, I'm at the grocery store right now. It's like, oh, I ate the last of this thing, or I know we're gonna need that soon. So my husband and I will add it to the list. And so for me, it doesn't make sense to have a shopping list in my planner because it's something that he and I need to share together. Next on my list is a budget page. Now, I just reviewed a planner a few weeks ago and it was gorgeous and I liked a lot about it. It was the boutique collection from Day Designer. There are a lot of great features, but in there is a budget page. And I just think between different checking accounts, savings accounts, sinking funds, retirement accounts, budgets that are managed by yourself, maybe budgets that are managed by you and your partner, whatever mix it is so personal that I find it hard to believe that a planner could make some type of budget layout that would apply to everybody. So for me, I use a spreadsheet and I just never will use that. I'm not saying that it couldn't be used. For example, maybe you're trying to track spending, so you use it for a few months to write down every time you shop at these 3 stores that give you a problem. I have a couple of stores in mind where I'm like, oh gosh, if I wrote that down, I would probably not want to see how much money I was spending. But anyway, I digress. I think there could be a use for it, but I just don't know that it's something that I would use to track my entire budget. So for that reason, it's just not something that needs to be in my planner. Next on the list, number 4, is the contacts page. I remember being a little kid and my mom having a contacts book, which actually, I would love to look through that just for nostalgia. I don't remember off the top of my head my grandparents' address from when I was super little, but I would love to look at it and see, what their condo looks like on Zillow now that it's been 30 or 40 years since they've lived there, And so I think there is a little piece of, I love that as, a little memory to have as a thing. Like I said, I remember this from when I was a kid, but now as an adult with the way technology is, I'm just not using a contact page. I could see a use for it if maybe you have a lot of different appointments, you want to remember, doctors and this and that, maybe that would be a good space for them. But again, a lot of that's saved in your phone. So I don't know, I guess it depends on if you actually think you would use it, but I have never once used a contact page in my planner. Next up, I say this in 45 of these videos, but I have never and will never and would never use the password page. I just think that's a bad idea to write down every account you have and handwrite all of the passwords. Get a password keeper, do something a little bit more secure, but I just think that's not a good idea. So I'm not going to advise using the password page. If anybody here has found a way to repurpose a contact and a password page, let me know, because I feel like these are standard in a lot of planners. So let me know, but I have never used either of those. Okay, this next one might be controversial. I think it just depends again on how people use their planners, but I don't like double goal pages. What I mean by this is at the front of your planner, let's say it gives you a vision board, or here's my goals for the year, or here are my categories of career, family, money, blah, 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 whatever. And you're gonna write your goals for those. And then your monthly also has goals. Now I could see, again, these are my yearly goals and this is how I'm gonna break it down month by month, but I think it can sometimes be overwhelming to be like, oh my gosh, there are so many goal pages. It's too much. So for me, I would rather have one or the other. I think that I would prefer the yearly so that I could sit down when I get my planner, beginning of the year, and say, these are the goals that I wanna make. This is my intention, these are my categories, rather than month by month do that, because I know myself. Right now it is June. I am already behind. I love doing a little recap and a little painting for each month, which I will maybe do a mid-year check-in of my Laurel Denise. And I am halfway done my April painting. I haven't done May, and I haven't done recaps for either of those months. So I just know that I am not gonna do okay, today's the beginning of June, it's June 1st, and I am going to sit down and make my goals for the month. I'm not gonna do that. I would rather set them at the year mark and just check in periodically, quarterly, whatever makes the most sense. But doing both seems like way too much. Number 7 on the list, extra pouches, pen clips, anything that you can stick or attach to the planner. It makes it too bulky. I've seen custom planners where you can even put not a pocket, but one of those actual plastic folders or plastic pouches so you can put pens and stuff. I think that it just gets too bulky, and sometimes you get these beautiful custom planners and then you start sticking stuff to them, and I feel like it makes them look a little bit cheaper. So for me, I am not an extra planner sticker attachment type of person. That said, I think it's nice to, I say this as I was gonna say as an older woman, as like not a child in elementary school. I like carrying a pencil pouch. If I'm traveling, I mean, all through college, I had a pencil pouch. I still think if I were a purse kind of gal, I would have a pencil pouch, because even if I did stick something to the cover so I could put one pen in there, I mean, how do you know if you're gonna want a pen? What about a highlighter? What about, a Ticonderoga pencil? How would you pick? So rather than sticking something, I think I would rather have a detached pouch to go with me, but having something attached, it just gets to be too much. 8. Now, if this comes in there, I'm not gonna rip it out. If I needed to for space, maybe I would, but honestly, it doesn't take up that much space. But the measurement converter. I find these in a lot of student planners, and maybe they would be helpful for students. Maybe, I don't know, the kids these days, they must be using technology. Again, once again, I sound like a grandma. I'm like the newfangled technology. I'm thinking of my old like graphing calculator that you had to borrow when you took Algebra 2 and all of that. So anyway, again, a trip down memory lane, but I imagine if I were doing any type of homework, assignment, if I'm baking, if I'm cooking, if I need to know measurement, I am just gonna Google that. I'm not gonna go to my planner, open it up, try to look at the conversions, see if I can figure it out. I'm just gonna ask, whatever robotic, Siri, Alexa, whatever. Actually, I hope I didn't wake her up. Okay, I didn't. It's in my home, and just say, what is the conversion for this? I don't find that helpful. The next one along that same line is a map, and I'm torn on this because I love maps. I think maps are super cool, but I'm not using them for the time zone. Once again, if I need to know what time it is in a certain city or state, I'm just gonna Google that, especially because some places around the world do the daylight savings thing, some don't. It's just easier than looking at a printed map. I know you might be thinking, what is she talking about? Some planners actually do still come with maps, which I think is really interesting. Again, it's fun, but it's not something that I'm gonna use. So anyway, that is my list of 9 things that I do not find to be particularly helpful or needed when it comes to extras in a planner. I also wanna add this. If you are thinking about making a custom planner, particularly Plum, as a person who's made like 6 Plum planners in my life, you get to that site, you are just amazed about everything you can add. Do you wanna add fitness? Do you wanna add, again, budget, home, cleaning? There's so many things you can add, and maybe those would be good options if you will use them. So my advice for you is, if you are doing a custom planner and you are getting ready to do the add-ons, if you have time, let's say you're gonna do it for 2027 and you wanna order your planner in November. In September, get online, print out some pages from Canva and use them for 3 weeks. For example, if you're thinking about adding a meal planner into your Plum, if you're thinking about adding a workout tracker into your Plum planner, make some kind or find some kind of replica on Canva, print it out, use it for 2 weeks, and ask yourself honestly, did I enjoy this? Is this practical? Am I going to use this? Especially things like a workout or fitness that are going to be repeated in your planner, and so it's going to take up a lot of space. You might be annoyed if you wind up buying something and you're like, actually, I didn't really need this or use this at all. It's not just like a 1-pager. It's, 2 or 3 pages each month. So that is my advice. If you're thinking about adding a bunch of extra stuff, try to find a way to test it out in the months leading up to your custom planner order so that you can make the best decision and you don't get frustrated. And a bonus tip is look at your old planners. Look at what you actually used, where you actually wrote spots in, and where you're like, you know what, I thought I was going to use that and it wound up not being great. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Just like last time, let me know in the comments below if I missed anything, if there's anything that you can't live without like I talked about last time, or this time you're like, yep, that is not something that I need. It is definitely a skip when I see it in the planner aisle. Let me know that too. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.